Okay, so today you're going to be creating one of these spot the differences sort of graphics. Um, this one I just took off the internet to show you guys, but basically, I'm sure you remember them when you're kids in the magazines or whatever. But you have one picture and then you have the other, and then you have to try to find the differences. Usually, they tell you how many there are. Right off the bat, we can kind of see okay, this is missing a cloud. Um, what else? Let's count the dirt piles. Okay, we're missing a dirt pile here. What else? Oh, we're missing a fall colored tree from right there. So those little types of things, right? Um, so I'm just going to delete that because I don't need it. Remember to open up Photoshop, you're going to go to your Windows logo down here, and then all your programs are actually in here. So if you've never used Windows 10, this is where you're going to find everything. You don't need to go into anything else. If you panic and can't see what you're looking for, you don't know. See, we're using Photoshop. It's under the A's, of course, but you can always search here. So you just type in Photoshop, and then there you go. Boom. Awesome. Now mine's already open. So I'm going to hold Alt to wheel out. This document that was created was because I imported a picture already. This is a picture that I took this summer. So what I want to be doing is I'm going to, as I look, this is out of focus. So I'm going to actually delete that one. I'm just going to hit delete on the layer. Why isn't it letting me delete? Always fun, right? Is it in transform mode? No. Oh, duh. It's because it's the only layer. Clearly, I'm still in summer break too. Okay, so I want a better picture. I will go through my photos quickly, and hopefully we can find one that is not out of focus. Let's try this one. So I just click and dragged it from my photos into Photoshop. Now you can see it's got this X over it. You have to hit enter to tell it, yep, this is where I want to put the picture. Okay, this one's in a bit better focus. That's a little overexposed, but we can fix that after. Okay, so because I click and dragged this picture into Photoshop, I have to tell Photoshop that it is a raster graphic. I have to tell it that it's pixels. Because if I see this little square down here, it says Smart Object. Now, if I go to hit E for eraser and erase this, it's going to say this Smart Object has to be rasterized. It doesn't know that it's pixels. So you can either try that and hit OK, or I could have right-clicked and went rasterize layer in here when it's a whatchamacallit, when it is a smart object. It'll give you, that'll be black and you can click that. Okay, so your challenge is to try to change 5 things in your photo. Now the photo doesn't have to be your own picture. You can take a picture off the internet, but keep in mind when we are Googling pictures, you want, so let's look up Hogwarts photos, images. You want to go to tools, size, large. Now, when you pick a picture, you want to copy and paste it from here. You don't want to take the thumbnail. So, just so we remember that. But I'm going to use one of my own pictures. So, the first thing I want to do is we're going to copy this, make 2 layers of it, duplicate layer. Yes. So, this one, I'm going to hide it. I can name this the unchanged image, and I'll hide it. And this is going to be my just regular image. Or this is the regular image. This is the one that I'm going to change. Because eventually what you're going to do, take the crop tool here and you're going to actually make your, hit enter, canvas bigger so that you can put both on there. So we could do that ahead of time if you want, it's up to you. But so then I'm going to hide the unchanged difference here, and then maybe we'll make it a little taller. Hit enter, and I'm going to hit T for text and write spot the differences. Control T, hold shift while you're making your text bigger, and then hit enter when you have it the way you want it. Now this text or this font isn't the greatest, so I'm going to hit T for text again, double click, and we can find a different font. Oosh. Well, maybe that one did work. Anyways, obviously. And then the color. Whatever, right? So now we want to focus on this image. So there's a lot of different things that you can change, and so this is a fun warm-up assignment because you're going to start remembering all the things you already know. And if this is your first time in Photoshop, you're going to actually just go back to those intro slides that I have on the Google Classroom. But so for this picture was taken in Lisbon, and it always makes me sad when all the advertisements are in English. I want to take this away. I want it to look just like concrete. So I don't really know how I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure I'm on this layer. I right-clicked and hit that. And now I'm going to use the clone tool. So this is going to work for some of it. It might not work up at this little divider, but we'll see. So the clone tool, if you have used it before, I'm going to hit Alt to get this little target thing. Click on my actual concrete. And it's going to, if you see where that crosshair is, it's copying that to where my cursor is. Now, the risk of that is, see, once I start getting up here, I'm copying from up there. So that doesn't work. So I'm going to hit Control Z or Alt Control Z to back up. Now I'm going to hit Alt again to select a new target and move this way. This way I'm taking this concrete from here and directly putting it over. So I'm just clicking lots. Sometimes you can color. I find then I end up getting weird stuff like that. So I like to do a little bit at a time so that if it starts copying weird stuff, you notice right away. I don't know. I'm going to hold Alt and wheel in a bit. I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller and my edges not quite as fuzzy. See, I want it like... It's kind of getting repetitive, right? And especially if you're using a smaller brush, you're going to end up noticing that more. So you can kind of take different chunks. So you're going to need to hit Alt. Ooh, no, Control Z there. So we can go like this too. You're going to need to select lots of different areas to clone from so that it looks like how it's actually supposed to look. Another option, instead of doing this, is I could have used the polygonal lasso tool and made a little shape. I only want the concrete, and I'm going to hit Control C, Control V. Now I have this little chunk of concrete here that I copied from here. So at this point, I could take it like this, hit Control T. It's going to be more pixelated until I hit enter, so don't panic yet. And hit enter. And then, see, it's still too pixelated. So I deleted that. I'm going to hit Control V again. Control T, and I'm going to shift it so it's a straight. Enter. Then I'm going to hit E for eraser. Right click to get to my size menu. Opacity, okay, because I want to just slowly erase this. Okay, and likewise with this guy here, I think I'm just going to use the lasso tool. Hit E for eraser. Erase that so I get a nice straight line. Control D to deselect. I erased a bit too much, so I'm going to hit Control T and spread it a bit. Now I'm going to hold Alt, or go to V for your cursor, hold Alt, and I can actually just grab this layer again. Control T. Let's move it over a bit, because I do want some difference. Enter. Back to my E for eraser to blend this in. I also want to get rid of all that because that looks silly. I actually think that line is too harsh too, so I think we'll go, but see, it's not letting me erase there, but it's because I'm on the wrong layer. So I go back to layer 1, and then it'll let me interact with it. Okay, now, hold Alt, wheel out. I still have a little bit of weirdness there. Control T, can I stretch it a bit just so it's more subtle? Yes. Then I go to this layer, right click, Control T. Okay. So now you can play around with this more, but basically, if I turn my other sign on, I've got rid of this sign. So what else can I change? So you can use the clone tool to do that. You can also copy and paste things in, like for example with the sky. That sky is a little bit overexposed. There's too much light, so I'm going to say blue sky. This might make for a really obvious difference, so this might not work, but we can try it. Control V. Okay. Control T. Put that behind there. So I'm going to click and drag this guy behind this layer. Now I can't see it, so I'm going to go to my image and I'm going to mask it. So I hit that little mask button down here. Then I'm on the mask layer. So I'm going to hit B for brush, and black is going to hide a part of this layer. Now I have it at 30% opacity, which means it's not showing everything, which I don't know if I want right now. So we'll just leave it like this and we'll see. Oh, but see, then I accidentally erased some of the building, so I'm going to hit X or hit your little swooshy button here to get to white. But I want like a clean line, so I'm going to use the marquee tool. And then B for brush, and then I'm going to color it back in. So that's the good thing about using a mask and not erasing things, is because it's not permanent. X to get back to my black brush, make it a bit bigger. We could just erase it all. Well, I don't want to erase this. Then if I erase too much, I go back to my white brush. You can change the opacity to higher too, so it's a little bit quicker. So I'm just adding to the mask now, saying don't hide this. Then I have to fix that again because I wrecked that. We'll use the marquee tool because there shouldn't be sky in the building. B for brush. Make it a little bit bigger. I just right clicked to get to that menu. Control D to deselect. Okay, so it kind of looks silly. Oh, I'm going to fix that too. So I don't know if I want to keep that or not. B for brush. Perfect. It's just a little watery, but this kind of fades away, so it kind of matches, but I want black. It needs to be black. So when that happens, it's because you're on the layer, not the mask. So you're going to hit Control Z. Make sure you hit the mask. Then you have black. Now it'll let you. So, yeah, this might be tricky because of that tree line. Yeah, we'll just go back to... No, I don't want to screen cap. You're going to go hit step backwards, which is Alt-Control-Z. Oh, wait. Need white. I'll add that back. And then we'll just leave it like that. Okay, now I've got a sky. What else could we change? We could maybe repair one of these or add one of those. So make sure you're on the right layer. And I'm going to hit Control-C, Control-V. Oh, make sure you're not on the mask. Control-C, Control-V, then you hit V for your cursor. And now I have another one, and we can kind of see where it might match. So all these weird lines here, we're going to hit E for eraser. Soften it, perfect, 30%. And then we're just going to slowly blend in those edges. And there's our other one. Anyways, so you're going to keep working away, and you're going to change at least 5 things on your 2 pictures. And then we will go over them together as a group, and we'll see if we can spot the differences.